Well, shit's about to hit the fan. Before we get to that legendary ending, let's start at the beginning of this week's episode, Inheritance. Rather than Deku being the usual narrator, it's actually Tokoyami. He speaks about Hawks and then leads to the conversation between those two, which leads to something that is relevant to this episode. Hawks facing an opponent that can counter him, Fire Quirk, which interestingly enough, that'd be Dabi. And the only way Hawks could really beat him is if he beats him to the punch first, which unfortunately for him, Dabi is just dominating the fuck out of him. Now, although Dabi is, well, crazy as fuck, it could be said that he's mad that Hawks killed his friend twice, maybe. Either that or he's just finds it hypocritical for a hero to kill a villain, which, hence in point, he brings up the hero killer Stain. And it's awesome just seeing how badass he looks, might I add, that it is just a remake of that Season 2 scene, but better. Anyway, Hawks gets flamed. No surprise there. Aside from that, Mirko continuing in her badass streak as she holds her own despite the odds, though she is aware that she really can't continue this specific fight because she needs to get to her target, the pathetic doctor. And as usual, he has the most ridiculously patheticness of expressions, and Mirko is almost successful, but then Anomu kind of fucks up that success. And we get to see the other heroes fight, Eraserhead being the main one that can counter their little ability to regenerate, Endeavor being a badass, and we even get to see Mike actually step in and finish Mirko's job. Since Mirko's injured, Endeavor basically covers her wounds with sealing the wound, which is painful as fuck. And this eventually all leads to Mike taking away the doctor, while another hero basically stays with the unconscious Shigaraki. Now, the doctor does talk about it, the whole thing that happened between Mike, Eraserhead, and their friend. And it's interesting that their target was actually the teacher, Eraserhead. And that makes you think, imagine what the fuck All For One would do with an erase quirk. That would be big problem, especially if you fought like that against All Might back in Season 3. Honestly, that's scary as fuck. Anyway, this does lead to the end of the episode with Shigaraki, where we're basically in what I would presume his mind world. He basically just talks to those from his past, and it's interesting how he's already forgiven his sister for that whole situation, how he basically is fine talking to his mother, and obviously the most person he hates with a burning passion is his father, and is indifferent about his grandmother. We do get to see All For One, and this is basically Shigaraki accepting the quirk, in a sense. And yeah, his awakening is not only badass, but the heroes just don't know what hell awaits. Honestly, this episode is kind of cut and dry, as well as a funny moment at the beginning with Fat Gum basically carrying all the students on him as he drags them away, and the heroes having had the advantage this entire beginning section before this moment, meaning that, yeah, next episode, get ready to see some deaths, because Shigaraki is a force of nature that just can't be beaten. I honestly just can't wait to see Shigaraki wreck the shit out of everyone.